Welcome back, everyone. Pal Ponder on Weather here. Hope everyone is having a safe and happy holidays and had a Merry Christmas and spent some time with the family and stayed warm because it has definitely been cold. But we got a parade of storms. They're going to be coming in out west and they're going to be relentless all week long. And they could be bringing some severe storms as well. So we're going to break down all the details on this update. So let's take a look at the overall temperature anomalies for the last 7 days. And this has been one impressive cold snap for December. It's definitely hard to do 30 degrees below average over a 7-day time frame, but the atmosphere did pull it off. And all these areas down here in the purple saw 10 to 15 degrees below average temperature anomalies for over 10 degrees below average across the lower 48 with an average mean of just 22 degrees. So it has definitely been on the cold side, and it's been on the snowy side as well. In fact, yesterday for Christmas, 53% of the country woke up with a white Christmas. So a lot of you guys definitely experienced 90% had a cold Christmas, had a freeze for Christmas morning, and then 53% had a white Christmas across the lower 48. So I appreciate all my followers. In fact, 700 new followers yesterday. I appreciate each and every one of you. I would love to reach 150,000 followers by the end of the year. And all you have to do is hit the subscribe button and you get all my daily content. So we'll break down the details on this update. So let's take a look at the setup going forward into today, because we've been watching this Alberta Clipper coming in from the north. It's been diving southbound. It's got another reinforcing shot of colder air. So we're going to be plunging the temperatures again down in the middle of the country. This will extend down into Texas, and it's bringing some snow showers, but the atmosphere is really dry on the backside. So all this snow, it might look some snow into Arkansas because it's about 10,000 feet up in the atmosphere. It is snowing, but a lot of that's not really actually reaching the ground. But what is actually reaching the ground is all these areas into blue. And we're not talking that much snow. This is from basically a trace to maybe 2 inches of snow. But yeah, maybe some more snow coming back for Illinois, back into Indiana. This could extend all the way far south as Tennessee. Maybe some snowflakes here into portions of northern portions of Alabama there, extending into West Virginia, all the way up into portions of Pennsylvania, while we'll be watching another storm system going to be coming in from the northwest with more heavy rain for them. And that's just what's to come as the relentless stream of parade of storms for them. But for Buffalo, man, the lake effect snow has been just insane. We had that historic storm back on November the 19th. Then we had this storm over Christmas. So combined, we're already at 92 inches on the year. They average about 95. And unfortunately, this has had some fatalities with it as well. So, because this has been an extended cold snap on top of the wind, and then just the heavier snows have been crippling the city. And that snow continues today, but it finally starts to wind down tomorrow as things start to normalize and they can start digging out of all that snow that's been falling over the last couple of days. But by the time you wake up on Tuesday morning, here's the temperatures with that reinforcing shot of colder air across the central and eastern 2/3 of the U.S., bringing the 20s back into Oklahoma, back into Texas, all the way down into Houston at 32 degrees, extending off into the east. Single digits back into the portions of the mid-Atlantic and all the way up here into the northeast with that reinforcing shot of colder air, and all the warmer anomalies are out west. So as we extend and go into your Tuesday, as far as the precipitation, that clipper is going to be done. So there's the cold front extending all the way down into the south, deep south of Texas again, and extending all the colder anomalies into our eastern and 2/3 of the U.S. with the warm front basically bisecting the middle of the country with all the warmer conditions. But the main story this week is all the heavy rain that's going to be moving in off the west coast. Now, it's going to be starting on Tuesday, really, with this impressive storm system down to a 969 millibar low pressure with a lot of wind and a lot of rain. So heavier rains extend into Washington and Oregon, get into Northern California, and that is just what's to come as just a relentless supply of moisture. Here's the overall hazard index. So we're going to be dealing with that hard freeze later on tonight. So they do have those hard freeze warnings in place, windy conditions with that clipper system, but definitely out west, high wind warnings and watches out west with that low pressure center with those tight isobars. You're going to be dealing with all the higher winds and then the heavier rains going into off the west coast. And like I mentioned, that is just what's to come, because with going into Wednesday, now it's not the northern sections, it's going to be the central and southern sections that's going to be benefiting on these rains that are coming in. So places into central California, Southern California are going to get into the action with those moderate rains, but now that actually extends into the desert Southwest. Places into Vegas should start to see some rainfall back into Phoenix and some of those areas into the desert Southwest. And our northern areas further north, you're a little bit in the cold sector, so that's going to be transferring over to all snow portions of Utah. You getting on the western side of Colorado, northern side of portions of New Mexico, as that system continues to move from west to east. And as it does, it's going to be elevating the temperatures. So these are overall temperature anomalies. By the time we get into your Thursday time frame, as the temperature starts to rebound going into your Wednesday, but really maximize them on Thursday. So you got the warmer anomalies here start to propagate a little bit further off into the east. So by the time we get into Thursday afternoon, those high temperature anomalies are crushing it with 20 above average temperatures. So it's completely the opposite of what you've seen over the last 7 days. So it's going to be a steadily warm up as we get deeper into the week for sure. But out west in the Pacific, this is a train that's just a relentless supply. So this is Thursday. So it starts on Tuesday, you go into Wednesday, and this is Thursday with another just extending all the way past Hawaii, and it just extends. There's no end in sight. So this is just a funnel effect. You would almost think we're in an El Nino with this type setup that's coming up this week. We're still in a La Nina. We've been there for 3 years, but that's not going to be what's showing in California this week with all the rain that's going to be coming in off the west coast, and that will start to extend into our central part of the U.S. by the time we get into Friday. So as that does, there's that in another system, again, parade of storms kind of all week heading into off the west coast with a little bit of in the interior regions, you'll get the snow, and that should extend in some of the ski countries. So the ski lovers definitely going to be loving it. But as we get into your Friday time frame, we've got to be concerned with those elevated temperatures. When you start to see temperature anomalies 10, 15, 20 degrees above average, you know that's not normal for the end of December, right? So it taps into a little bit of instability. So yes, we could be looking at some showers and storms essentially east of the I-35 corridor. And some of these could be severe. I mean, you're going to be locked into the warm sector. There's the red line. So that's your freezing line. So anything northwest of there is essentially your freezing conditions. Anything southeast of there is not. So as the temperatures start to elevate, those freezing temperatures you're experiencing right now are going to be going away, but the storms could be coming back. So we got to be concerned, especially going into Friday. Some of these storms could get a little bumpy or damaging winds, maybe some hail with it, maybe an isolated tornado out here in far extremes, East Texas, get into Louisiana, going into Arkansas here in eastern portions of Oklahoma. So that we're going to be favoring this area for some stronger storms as we get deeper into the day on Friday. And that just extends. And I think this might be the even more elevated day as we get into your New Year's Eve. So a lot of people have plans obviously on New Year's Eve. So this is definitely a concern down here into the deep south. So you got to be on the lookout. Some of these storms could be turning severe as we get deeper into the day, into Louisiana, into Mississippi, into Alabama, heading into portions of Georgia and the Florida Panhandle. It may extend as far north as Tennessee, but we'll be elevating the dew points. We'll be elevating the instability. So definitely something to be on, keep an eye on as we get closer to this type of setup, because we are going to be looking at the jet stream start to buckle. So that's always a concern. When it ever buckles, it has a kink in the hose, and that'll elevate and lift some of that moisture from the Gulf and propagate it into the deep south, and some of those could be on the stronger side. So we definitely have to be concerned about severe storms going into your Saturday time frame and going into your, again, this is your overall look with another system coming in off the west coast. It's going to be just a daily deluge every single day. And this is something that it's not a one-day wonder out west. I mean, obviously these areas are in a desperate need of rainfall. A lot of these areas are in exceptional, severe drought. So it's a good thing that these are coming in just kind of sporadic. It's not all at once. So this is parade of systems. So these are good soaking rains. They're going to be coming in to California and off the west coast, but in the middle of the country, that's where we're going to have to be concerned about for some severe storms on the southern side. But most of this, once you head into the Ohio Valley, won't be severe. It's just some moderate rain that will extend into portions of the mid-Atlantic. But one thing's for certain, we're going to be starting to see those temperatures start to rebound. So they're warmer out west now, but by the time we get into your New Year's Eve, heading into the first couple of days of the new year, those higher temperature anomalies will be draped across the central and eastern 2/3 of the country. So it's completely opposite. And then you have those below average anomalies for Southern California and the Southwest. And that's really just what, all the heavier rains are going to be locked over that area as we get into that time frame. So going into yesterday, this was pretty impressive for Christmas Day. All the warmer anomalies were out west in Los Angeles. They actually hit 84 degrees. That was actually the second warmest Christmas on record. Records go back all the way to 1877. That's a long time out there. But Miami, I think this was even more impressive. They had a high temperature of 50. It was their coldest Christmas on record. Very rarely it gets down to 50 and below. In fact, I think it's only been like that for about 6 times in recorded history. Records go back to 1895. So that was an impressive cold snap, going into Christmas morning. But what happens? It's in Miami. It's not going to stay cold, right? So it's completely opposite. As that warm air continues to move east, by the time we get into your New Year's Eve, there's some of your temperatures for New Year's Eve. So we're going to be dealing with the storms down here in the south. We're looking at 70s. That's why we have that storm potential. But we could be looking at record highs for Miami back into 83 degrees. So yeah, it's completely opposite. The atmosphere really turns around. That's why you got to keep ahead of the storm and stay with this channel, because things change quick. We go from record coldest Christmas on record to record warmth in just a 6-day difference. So, but here's the setup as we go into the new year. Just because the calendar flips doesn't mean the rain stops, because we have another storm system. This is why they have the below average anomalies for the Southwest. We got another vorticity hitting that region, and that's not going to end there, because yet we have another one coming. So that parade of storms is going to be relentless off the West Coast. So as we go into the third time frame, that same storm system that was over the desert Southwest will be highlighted over the middle of the country again. So that could bring some more rain showers back into portions of the same type of areas that they're getting it for Friday and Saturday time frame. But to the north side of it, there's going to be another cold pocket aloft that could break out some more snow showers along this area right here through Nebraska, through the Dakotas, back into Minnesota again. That won't be until, say, your second, third, fourth time frame back into January. So if we break this thing down for you on the European ensembles, here's the relentless rain on the ensemble index coming off the West Coast. You can see the graph on the bottom corner of the screen here. All the heavier rains will be associated with it off the West Coast back into the Southwest regions. A little bit drier anomalies as you get into the middle of the country, but there east of the I-35 corridor, we got to be concerned about the heavier rains extended into the Tennessee Valley. But some of this could be on the severe side, and then lighter amounts as you extend up into the mid-Atlantic and heading up into the Northeast. And it kind of implies the same thing with the latest GFS ensembles as well. So over the next 10 days, these are where the rain setups are going to be for the next 10-day time frame. And this is why the Climate Prediction Center has such higher amounts of precipitation, with the rains coming in off the West Coast, with those parade of storms coming in, losing its luster a little bit in the middle of the country, but then picking back up again as you head into the deep south and extending into through the Ohio Valley. But so if we break this thing down for you on the numerical models, here's the overall rain amounts, what you could see, and some definitely impressive totals. All these areas in orange here, you're talking at least 6 inches of rainfall just between now in a week time frame through the 2nd, and there's more rain coming after that. So this is going to be some healthy rains, soaking rains. The soil's really dry out here, getting into the deserts too. So this is another elevated system that's going to be coming across east of the I-35 corridor back in through the deep south here. And looking at some of the soil moisture, this was on Christmas. Obviously, these areas out west desperately need the rainfall. So this is a good thing to see some of these parade of storms are going to be coming in. And then even through the middle of the country, they're bone dry as well. Unfortunately, they're not going to have much help. But we do have that system coming in out west, and here's your snow. So you have that little clipper system. Obviously, there's not much colder air as the atmosphere rebounds. So everything here is going to be from just over the next couple of days with that lake effect snow kind of winding down over the next day or two. All this out in the Intermountain West is higher elevation snows for your ski lovers, and this is the system that we talked about that's going to be impacting the 2nd, 3rd, 4th time frame with some of that colder air coming back, and we could be picking up some healthy amounts back into Nebraska, through the Dakotas, and through portions of Minnesota and Wisconsin again. So hey, I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video. Follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and follow me on Instagram as I do daily updates on that as well. So catch me in the next update where I protect you before and after the storm.